Swamp now.
Hey guys.
It's just a pineapple.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Here at the Swamp, get ready to beat LSU. Y'all tune into Rule Number 1 podcast on Monday.
And we're back. Episode 14. Got a good one tonight.
Yeah, man. The old Christmas special. We told y'all last week that we were going to try to do something cool, and we're actually going to release this episode on Christmas. Normally we release on Mondays, but we wanted to kind of do something special for Christmas, so we're going to release one. Hopefully y'all can listen to it maybe while you're opening presents or something.
So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Smothers, you want to introduce our awesome guest star tonight?
Yeah, so today we have Matt Higgins on. He is the head of GCLI, which is Gray City Leadership Institute, and kind of what they do is they are partnered with Southeastern University, and they have interns that work with the church and kind of get plugged into the ministry. So welcome on, Matt.
Amazing. That's impressive, bro. Most people, I feel like I'm not that good at describing it. I need to write that down and use that for marketing.
He nailed that.
Yeah, that was perfect. Impressive, for sure. I'm excited to be with you guys.
Yeah, I met Matt whenever I was in high school, and I was going to their youth group a little bit, and we had Jake Fox on a couple episodes ago, and Jake and Matt are really tight. That's we heard Jake talk about his faith and how much, he loves the Lord. Well, he goes to the same church as Matt does. So they kind of had a tight connection, and we're looking forward to having him on.
And that's how it happens, man.
I know a guy that knows a guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so Matt, we want to talk a little bit. We ask everybody each episode, what's your number one rule you live by?
Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. Actually, I think this is a great question. I was thinking about it when I listened to Jake's episode, and I think it's a good thing to have some. Obviously, we all have a lot of things we care about, a lot of rules that we live by, but to have like that one thing that kind of anchors everything. And I really, as I thought about it, I couldn't get away from this idea that as far as it depends on me, I just want to have great relationship with everyone in my life. I think that's been something that has blessed me so much to go, you know what, I can't control other people's interaction with me or perception with me, but I can control what I can control. And so as far as it depends on me, whatever it takes, I want to have a great relationship with people, and that plays out in a lot of different ways. But I think I've just seen a lot of blessing by going, you know what, I don't have to settle for going, oh man, if someone's pissed at me, I'm going to let them be pissed. Like I know I'm going to try to win people over. Like the Bible says, all things to all people, and that we might win some to Christ. And so I think that's been something that's really blessed me, is just going, you know what, as far as it depends on me, I'm going to have great relationship with people.
I love that.
Yeah, dude. I kind of, I live my life the same way. I always tell people I like to broaden my social network. I like to talk to everybody. Like,
yes.
I'm a chatterbox. You can ask him. Like, when we go out anywhere, I'll talk to anybody. Like, doing anything.
Yeah.
I just love to talk to people. I love to get their stories, and that's kind of what inspired us to start this.
Yeah.
And hearing that is really awesome because. Same, man.
Yeah, let's go. I love that, dude. Sick.
Especially nowadays, because I feel like the whole world is kind of full of like hate and a division right now. And if you can just go out and talk to somebody and spread some love and be like, hey man, like, how's your day? Yeah. It was kind of cool the other day. Brian and I were in Walmart, and we were looking at a tripod for one of the angles that we could have. And a guy walks up to us and he's like, hey guys, can y'all help me find a ring light? And so we were talking to him this and that about a ring light. And we were like, oh yeah, we do a podcast. We have the same one. And then got just talking to him, great guy, and
sick.
I think we gained a new follower.
I think so too. He was pulling out the phone. He's like, "Rule 1 podcast, huh?" We're like, "Yeah,
that's amazing."
Yeah. But he got a 36-inch ring light, and he was really stressing because he wanted his wife to love it because they were doing like this party.
Yeah.
And he really needed this ring light to be able to change colors for anybody that was taking pictures. Because I guess some people wanted different, light colors and different angles and stuff.
Right.
He really wanted to deliver.
Yeah.
So whoever you were, I hope it really helped you out, man.
That's a different level, buying a light for your wife versus for your podcast,
You could definitely tell he was stressing. He was stressing about it. But no, so Matt, obviously you're a man of faith. How did your walk with Christ get there? Was there a specific time where you were like, you know what, I'm giving it all for you? And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I kind of grew up in a home that faith was present, but it wasn't really, nobody was really passionate about it. And so my mom was Catholic, my dad was Presbyterian, and when they got married, they kind of decided that none of it really worked for them together. And so, we were holiday Christians. We loved Christmas services and Easter services, and we would go, sometimes on and off, but it just never was something I was pumped about. Never something I really enjoyed. I remember just counting down the time until church was over when I was in church. And my junior year of high school, through just a random set of circumstances, I actually ended up at this Christian school, and I was not pumped about it at first, but through that school I met a ton of people who really loved Jesus. And I think honestly probably the first time in my life I met people who really loved God, and it just was displayed in their life. They invited me to hang out on a Thursday night, and I thought we were just grabbing pizza and hanging out, and somebody pulled out a Bible halfway through and started reading, and I'm like, oh God, it's these kind of people. And over the course of about a year and a half, my junior year and senior year, I really came to love them and then to love God. And I ended up getting baptized, kind of surrendering my heart to Jesus. And I was, I've always wanted to go to University of Florida ever since I moved down to Florida. I actually moved in there my freshman year of college and kind of started the whole experience. And I was my first week there, and I think I got invited to about like 6 parties my first day on campus. And I was like, I don't think my faith is in a place where it can survive this. I felt like I saw 2 different versions of my life. Like if I come here, I know where I'm going to be in 4 years. I'm very much like frat guy, 100%. That's my vibe. And so I kind of was like, man, I don't want that to be, I don't want to just go off the rails here. And I know I will. And so I came home kind of freaking out. I was like, I don't know how to pray, don't know how to read my Bible. I realized I need to grow my faith. And so that's how I ended up coming to Lakeland. Was I found Southeastern University here, and came, and God just wrecked my life here. I discovered faith, really, really genuine faith, and then got called to ministry. And I remember I was in a worship environment, and they kind of did I don't know if you're familiar with the salvation call at the end of service, and I'm standing in the back, and 15 people's hands go up to accept Jesus at this welcome week event at Southeastern. And I just remember going, I want to be a part of setting up environments like this for the rest of my life. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what role I play, but I have to be a part of making that moment happen. And so that's kind of how I came to faith, how I got called into ministry, and just haven't turned back. It's been amazing.
That's awesome, man. And you could tell from the way you talk about it, it's like you're on fire for it too.
Yeah, you're passionate. You're passionate, and that's what we like in all of our guests.
Yeah,
exactly. They always, we've nailed it so far, man. I'm so proud. They're all passionate about everything they do.
Yeah. No, nobody's just bored with their life so
man.
far.
Yeah,
But no, what I was saying is, you could tell, especially with people that are on fire for Christ, is, they're just different than everybody else. They carry themselves differently. They don't necessarily get irritated with little things, and they just kind of roll with the punches, and they always seem to be very happy.
Yeah.
And they're just, I don't know, there's something about it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely see it. One of our good mentors in our life, our former baseball coach, Jeff Sykes. Mm-hmm. He is a man that's, dedicated his life. He's been kind of by the book, man of example. And every day, man, he's just, no matter what's going on, he's got a smile on his face. He's just happy to be there, dude. I love it.
I used to think people like that were fake, and then I went through some stuff, and I had to push through it, and it's not like you're always smiling. It's not like you're always happy. You can have bad days, but then I went through some stuff, and I was like, it's really not fake. When you have a genuine faith and you trust God, it's you actually can get through some stuff that it doesn't really make sense to get through if you don't have God with you.
Well, I you're not fake. I can tell that. And we met 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. Yeah. And what struck me earlier in the conversation is when you were getting your calling, going into, your journey, you were hanging out with these people, and you were like, oh, they're like this. What I'm saying? Those kind of people. And 9 times out of 10, if you ask a person about that, they're not going to tell you that. They're like, no, they were good people. But in the back of their mind, they're going to be like, oh, they're those kind of people. Let's all be honest here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just think being authentic and talking like that is, welcoming people into Christianity more. You are a welcoming, you influence people for it. And I just feel like Christianity gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of judgmental, people out there that, live by the Bible, but if you don't, shame on you, man. And I feel like they gotta break that stereotype somehow.
Yeah, it is tough, I feel like, for a lot of people, because everybody has different walks in life. And whenever, you struggle sometimes, a lot of times there have been a rep from some churches where it stinks because as a Christian, you don't want that to happen. But it's just kind of, sometimes that it happens.
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
But you're not it. You're 100%
well, I
authentic.
think honestly, the way that I came to faith kind of has protected me from that, because it's like, I met people who made me want to follow God, and now I feel like I have to be that person who makes people want to follow God when they meet me, and I love working for a church called Grace City, because it's like, it's kind of right there in our name. If we're not grace-filled people, it's just bad marketing, it's bad branding. So you kind of have to just be that person who's like grace-filled and loves people and makes people pumped about, wanting to follow God. And so
Grace City is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like right smack dab in the middle of Lakeland.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
If our viewers don't know, it's Florida Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually on New Jersey now. We had a campus on South Florida Avenue, but we moved over to New Jersey Road. So we have a new campus.
Sweet.
Now,
I know. One of our roommates, they attend Grace City with you, and she talks very highly about it.
That's awesome.
And she loves it. So.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about the whole Grace City Leadership Institute.
Yeah.
I mean, you're put in such a cool position where you can have a hand on all these college kids. Do you want to talk a little bit, like some cool stories that you've been able to do?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I love what I get to do at Grace City, because I serve in our youth ministry, and so that's kind of how I connected with you a few years back, and I love getting to serve in youth. Because that's where my life was changed. It was when I was 17 years old, but I love getting to lead our Grace City Leadership Institute and hang with those 18 to 25 year olds on a more consistent basis, because I think, it matters reaching kids when they're in high school, but where you really determine how you're going to live the rest of your life is that 18 to 25 year old range. And so I've just met people who, it's a pretty random selection of people. We have about 50 to 60 students every year. And it's pretty special because they're devoting between 9 months, they can just do a year of it, or they can do up to 4 years and get a full bachelor's. And they're devoting a significant amount of time to serving the local church. You kind of have to be a little bought in, but it's all over the range in terms of people who have loved God since the day they were born, and people who just met Jesus like 6 months ago, and then they're like, I got to go do this thing. And so it's been fun to get to kind of meet people in different places. And there's been, some really special things for me where I'm journeying with high school kids from when they're their freshman year of high school to now they're in our program, and to get to see what God does in their life over that time is just incredible. There's students who have gone off and tried, other colleges and then end up coming back. And so I think getting to see that has been really, really miraculous. And honestly, there's one student in particular I think about that, he came to GCLI kind of on a whim. It was like worst case scenario, last ditch effort. I don't know where else I'm going to go. I have to go here type thing. Kind of what I did with Southeastern, honestly. and it was just fun to watch God just completely transform his life. And, he went from someone who was addicted to substances and kind of, didn't really have a vision for his life, to someone who actually ended up, committing to go into rehab and getting clean, and now is just following Jesus. And so there's just so many stories like that where you see the process works, surrendering your life to Jesus works. Like, God actually does have a plan for people, and he does want to speak to them, and we just have to be open and surrender, And so I feel like every year I get to see 50, 18 to 25 year olds who just go, God, here's my life. And getting to watch what happens when they do that is just so special. I feel like I'm running a young adults ministry, but it's like a full-time young adults ministry. I don't see them once a month at 7 p.m. We play, we don't play pool together for an hour and then they head home. It's like they come into the church every day and we're living life together, and it's pretty special. So that's
awesome. I know one story. I went to a high school with a guy, Austin Branham. Yeah. And funny story. We played baseball together, and he was committed to go play baseball at Erskine College in South Carolina. Yeah. And he was actually one of the first of our buddies. He committed in his junior year. Mm-hmm. He was all for it. And he kept talking to me his senior year. He's like, dude, I think I'm going to do this GCLI thing. I was like, dude, you have, a huge scholarship to go play baseball. Like, what are you talking about? Totally. And then he said, he was like, you know what? Like, I'm going for it. And he went there, and he's apparently had a blast.
Yeah, he's actually on staff of the church now.
Oh, is he really? That's awesome. That's awesome. It's very cool to see kind of that side of things, and how God can use people in developing all different ways, because he was one heck of a second baseman, and he's like, you know what? I think this is where God's calling me. So.
I like how you're given opportunities too. Right. Like, it's not just like, hey, just come show up, learn, we're going to hang out for this time. But these people come in, they get to be a part of community. They feel welcome, they feel loved, you feel part of something.
Absolutely.
And then you get a chance to work for it, put on what you've learned, teach. It's really cool, man.
100%. It's cool because I was actually at Austin signing for Erskine. And so, that was a special, and I'm always cautious. Like I hang out with a lot of guys who, Jake Fox is an example, like he would never have done GCLI. I never, even tried. I'm not like, are you sure about this baseball thing? And so I'm always cautious to not like, I love what I get to do. And I think it works for a lot of kids. I know it's not for everybody. But Austin was one of those kids that I was like, I'm not going to push him, but man, I want him to do this, And so that was one of those moments where when he came to me and told me, I'm like, okay, cool, bro. And as soon as he walked away, I'm like, let's go. So yeah, it's special.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, a couple big name guys, Jake Fox and then Brody Donay. He's a catcher at West Virginia, right?
He's at Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. And so it's very cool to be able to see your plug-in with these guys that go to the youth group and, move along. Now, you do a lot of stuff with FCA, correct?
Yeah,
with Lakeland?
Yep, yeah. So our church gets to serve with Fellowship of Christian Athletes at a few different schools in the Lakeland area. So we're at Lakeland High School, Kathleen High School, Southwest Middle School, and then we actually have an FCA at Lakeland Christian now for middle and high school, which has been fun. And so definitely a very different environment than those public school environments. But yeah, we get to preach the gospel during their lunches. And the first day of FCA this year, we always kind of do a big lunch. We had about 1,800 kids across those 4 campuses come to our FCAs, and we had over 200 students raise their hand to accept Jesus. And so it's been just miraculous, honestly, especially this year. COVID, we kind of had to take a step back. We weren't really allowed on any campuses, and we've just seen God do miraculous things since we stepped back on the campuses. It's fun because we get to do these experiences every Wednesday during their lunches, but we also get to show up to their games. I'm wearing the Lakeland State Championship shirt right now.
2 days ago.
2 days ago, it was Saturday. Yeah, it was so fun. And the quarterback for Lakeland High School comes to our church. He's in our youth ministry. His name's Zach Ployce, and it's just cool to see these guys who they don't have to live their life for God. They have a lot of things going for them. They have girlfriends, they have the D1 offers, they got the sports career, but they encounter God, in the church, and they encounter God in their school, and it just changes everything, and so again, to watch that and see, I posted this thing about Zach yesterday, and I think what I love about him is he has not taken a step back on the field whatsoever. If anything, he dominated more after he started committing some time to church. But he's sacrificed so much just to grow closer to God, just to read his Bible a little bit more often, just to show up to church and bring his friends with him, and to see the leader he is on the team. He sent me a picture today of he always has a cross on his on his face during the game, but he also had one on his wrist, and he was like, see, I did 2 crosses this time. And so it's just so cool to see these guys like really desire to show their faith, bring people along, love people like Jesus does. They're 17, 18 years old. It's just wild. So yeah, it's fun.
It's good to see young, people.
Yeah.
Growing up,
Exactly. Yeah. Especially being a part of it too, and being able to stand by their side and be a friend, but two, a mentor too, because 100%. You've been through your walk of faith, and you've probably been through just about everything that they've been through as well. So,
even outside of the religious aspect, you're going to always look out for their best interest for this person, you're always going to help them find what's best for them. You're not going to ever go down and be like, man, I don't think you should do this, and then, not be their best option.
Totally.
I love that. I really do. It's good.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's good to see people like you out there working hard.
Working hard to make a better world.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an honor. I love it.
So what's your favorite part about being part of Grace City, and, whether it's from, Sunday worship or Wednesday nights, or, just a little snippet, just doing devotions or something? What's your probably favorite part about doing it all?
Man, I love church. I'm always, I'm at 3 services every Sunday. We have 2 morning services and a night service, and I'm at all 3 of them. And I love those. I go to church on Wednesday nights for youth. We have prayer services before all our services, and I'm at all those. It's my job, so I'm required to be there, but I love it. I really enjoy it. And, but I honestly think my favorite part of serving at Grace City is bringing Grace City outside of Grace City. I love I think we have a great culture. I think we have a great theology. I think the way we view God is a way that draws people in and helps people who haven't connected with church, or maybe have disconnected from church, rediscover their faith. But I love that it's not just within our 4 walls. I love when we get to go out and do serve days. I love picking a student up at 5:30 a.m. before school and doing devotions at Starbucks, and then dropping them off at the school after. And I love getting to go get a workout in with a student after school. I love meeting our college students and getting to go see a movie. I just think when faith moves into something that actually affects the rest of your life. Like, I love church, but I just think it can't be all of it, you know? Yeah. And so I love getting to be, we always talk about bringing people along. And so I have things that I love doing. Like, people are always like, how do you hang with these high school students? Like, high school students are annoying, you know? Like, especially like the 30, 35-year-olds in our church are like, how do you do this? And I'm like, I just bring them to the things I already do, you know? Like, I love my life. Like, I'll sit down with a high school student and go, bro, my life's better than yours. Like, I don't feel bad about it. Like, I just have a better life than yours. And if you want to come check it out, I think you'll like it, you know? And that's what we do, is I invite them to devotions, to, you know, to church, to these environments where I'm like, it's just a better way to live. Like, it's just
real, man. Yeah. You're like, this is what you're getting.
Yeah.
You either like it or you don't.
Right? You can stick with what you're doing. Like, keep doing it, whatever, but you're going to miss out.
Have you been on any like missions trips with Grace City?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I've been, last year I took our first year Grace City Leadership Institute students to Mexico. We got to serve at an orphanage down there. Very so cool. Special. I've been on quite a number of trips. Done Nicaragua. I did one to Haiti. I think my favorite recent trip I did was like right before COVID. I got to go to Uganda, and my buddy Matt Boyd, who plays for the Tigers, he owns he and his wife like own this nonprofit organization called Kingdom Home that functions in Uganda, and so it's actually rescues girls from sex trafficking, and so they have these homes for young kids who are at risk to be trafficked. Awesome. And yeah, it was just crazy to see like this massive, you know, they have like 4 or 5 homes, and get to drive to all of them and kind of meet the kids. And I sponsor one of the kids, you know, and getting to meet her in person, and like, you know, she recognized me because they send notes and pictures and stuff, and I recognized her, and getting to see her was just really cool. But yeah, I think international missions is one of those things that you just can't live the same after you've gone and seen that stuff, you know?
It's just seeing the world too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And I was about to say, like, whenever you go, because I've been to Haiti before, and when you go over there and you see, you know, everything that's going on, and it's like, oh, I feel bad for these people. But then you look around, and it's almost like every single one have a smile on their face. It's all perspective. 100%. And then you come over to the United States, and you're like, wow, I am so absolutely blessed.
Yep. Everybody's pissed off about everything. It don't matter. It's just something.
Right, right. So true. Yeah. I think, one of the most convicting moments when I was in Haiti, actually, I went to a lady's house, and we were offering her prayer, you know, and you think like you're walking to these huts, they have nothing. They're going to ask for prayer for themselves. And she goes, man, can you just pray for my family that, you know, there's somebody that has cancer. Can you pray for healing? She doesn't ask for anything for herself. And I'm thinking, if I showed up to any house in America and, you know, it can be a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, you know, I'm like, hey, you guys need anything? They're like, yeah. We're struggling, you know, like we could use some more. It's like,
we need some more money.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, those things are just always convicting, because it reminds you that, it's just not about what you have. Like, it's about like who you are and the people around you, you know, and these people that just don't really feel like they need anything.
Right.
If they have their faith, they're good, you know.
So Uganda, that's like your...
Uganda was...
I
was in Haiti, but yeah, Uganda was like, I mean, that was the pinnacle of like... Yeah, I just feel like it's changed my whole perspective on
see
life,
anything
honestly.
cool, like wildlife or anything? I always want to go.
We really didn't get to see any wildlife. I'm going to go with them again, I think, this next year, and we're going to do like a safari and do the full experience. Yeah. But the first trip, we just didn't have the time to do it. You know, it really takes some time to get out there and like get to where you can actually do like a cool safari. So we were just kind of driving from house to house and seeing the ministry for the first trip. But the second trip, I was like, if I'm going to come back, we got to hit the safari. You know, so yeah,
it's like a once in a lifetime.
Yeah,
thing.
It's like one day. Come on, let's just go on a safari. So yeah.
Brian, have you ever made it over to Grace City before?
I have not.
Now, this place, when you walk in there and the music starts playing,
it looks huge. By the way, like I've drove by it 100 times.
Yeah,
like,
it gets thumping whenever you walk in there. Like there's lasers and smoke. Like it is such a cool experience.
I've seen the videos. It looks pretty cool.
Oh, it's great.
It's fun. Yeah.
So they correct me if I'm wrong. So Hillsong Worship, that is a derivative from y'all, or
no? Yeah, so Hillsong is a huge church in Australia, and Grace City was a part of the Hillsong family actually when we started. So there was kind of like an affiliation, but there's been some stuff that's gone down with Hillsong, and we actually kind of stepped out of that relationship with them, and have different overseers. It was kind of just like an oversight thing, like kind of having a board of people, because we're non-denominational, and so you obviously need people more than just your pastors who are deciding things like how much the pastor gets paid, and you know, if everything that's happening at the church is okay. And so that was our affiliation. And now we kind of have a separate board of overseers. But Hillsong Worship is amazing. We still sing a lot of their songs on Sunday mornings. But Grace City Music is kind of like our worship team, and they write their own songs and things like that. And then obviously we play. There's tons of churches and worship bands that write amazing music that we sing on Sundays as well.
Now, do you guys like bring in these musically inclined people and let them just go at it in there?
Yeah, we bring guests for sure. Most weeks, like, it's honestly just our volunteer team. We only have one full-time worship pastor, Chase Wagner. He's incredible, and he really does just build people up. Like, he helps people go from, I think I could maybe sing a song, to like, I can lead this room in worship, you know?
Oh,
yeah,
no, 100%.
Cool.
You'll get in there and you'll be like, you'll start jumping around and stuff. You're like, woo, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, they're amazing. And yeah, they're all volunteers that show up and serve across all three of our services. And the worship team's there longer than pretty much anybody else in our church, you know, even staff. And so they get there at 7 a.m., they're there till 2 p.m., they're back at 4 p.m. and they're till 8 p.m. again, you know? Wow. And yeah, they're super talented. And then, yeah, we've had the pleasure to bring in some special guests. We've had Maverick City Music, you know, just some big worship bands that have kind of brought through. Ben Hastings from Hillsong Worship just came recently. And he's like one of my favorites. Like, sometimes, you know, you have these encounters with these songs and you're like,
just get lost.
We had Leland come in a while back, and they were someone who, when I first got saved, I was listening to Leland, you know? So I never thought I'd be like in a room where my church brought them in and they led me in worship, you know? And so I'm like 10 feet away from them and I can't even walk up to them and say hi. You know? Our senior pastor's like, did you say what's up? I'm like, I can't do it. She's like, they're so chill. They're right there. Go say hi. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I literally cannot talk to them. Like, the day after I got saved, I listened to one of their songs. Like, I can't talk to them, you know? So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you ready to get into it or what?
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
We always, you know, it's Christmas time.
Yes.
We love Christmas, as you can
Yeah, you got
tell.
the setup here.
I mean, I always tell people, like, it's not Christmas time until the last, you know, Thanksgiving dish is put away and the clock strikes midnight on Black
So that was
Friday.
yesterday, and now we're doing the Christmas.
Yeah. So it's,
you're ready.
I'm like, it's rare. I've been wanting to do this. We've been looking for the right guests. And
No, it hit me. I think it was like yesterday. I was like, dang, it's a week before Christmas.
Yeah,
and it's like,
man.
it
always
honestly
comes up
snuck
so
up.
got all my shopping done, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
It's impressive.
So basically how we want to do this is, Matt, we want to ask you kind of to give your perspective on the Christmas story for those that have not heard about Christ's birth.
Right.
If you can kind of just give a brief synopsis of what you think and what you believe, and kind of just explain everything, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, for sure. So, obviously, you know, there's kind of a couple big days in the Christian faith every year. There's plenty of other, you know, moments that we celebrate certain things, but Easter and then Christmas are definitely like the Super Bowls of Christianity. You know, it's like if there's anything we put a ton of effort into communicating well, providing a great experience for people who might only come to church that one time a year. It's Christmas and Easter, and for good reason. You know, Christmas represents the birth of Jesus, and it is one of the key kind of miracle moments of our faith. And so, you know, I think it's easy to as a Christian go, oh, like, do I have to believe in like the virgin birth? You know, do I have to believe in the resurrection? And it's kind of one of those things where, yes, you do, because if those things aren't true, the whole thing isn't true, you know?
They're the marquee points.
Yeah. You kind of have to have those things. So, but yeah, so kind of, you know, what we believe about the birth of Jesus is that this woman named Mary, an angel came and spoke to her and said, hey, you're going to have a baby. At this point, she's engaged to this guy named Joseph, which during the time, engagement meant marriage. Like you have to file divorce papers if you're going to end your engagement, culturally at that time. And so obviously not a super fun thing to hear probably as a dude that your wife is pregnant and it's not yours, you know?
Right.
And so Joseph is like, what's going on? And Mary's like, you know, an angel came to me and said, I'm pregnant with God's child, you know, it's going to be the savior. And obviously, you know, they're aware of the prophecies. It's really cool. I think the more you read the Bible, the more you come to understand how like prophesied the birth of Jesus was, how many people spoke about this coming soon and coming king. And so you kind of see these people who have to step out in faith and obedience and go, and Mary's like, man, I'm not ready to be a mom. And Joseph's like, I'm not the dad, you know, but I have to trust you and believe that this is real. And, you know, I think what's cool is Joseph does end up getting confirmation from an angel eventually, but he does have to have that first step of obedience of going, okay, yeah, I guess we're gonna do
trust
this.
the process.
Yeah, and so so she gives birth to Jesus, and he's the king, he's the savior, he's sent by God to surrender himself, sacrifice himself for our sins. And so, they raise him and he grows up, and, obviously over time it starts to become very clear there's something different about this kid. And I was telling Nate before this, like there's a moment where, they all go to church together, and the parents are actually leave, and they leave Jesus behind, mm-hmm. and when they finally get him, they're scolding him. They're like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Don't you know I have to be about my father's business? Like I have to be in my father's house." And I should know exactly what age he was, but he's like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, I remember that.
Not something you expect from a kid, like, don't you know I have to be about my father's business? Like, but that's the way he kind of interacted, and he's teaching in the synagogue, and he knows more than his peers. And throughout scripture, you just see this thing of like, he just had this authority that like nobody else did. People are like, there's something different about when this dude talks. Like when he speaks, like I want to listen, and there's something going on. And obviously everywhere he goes, there's miracle after miracle. But mm-hmm. I think the Christmas story is so special because we get to see this example of great faith by Mary, Joseph, by the wise men. There's this, the nativity scene is just kind of a special like representation of the miraculous that represents Christmas. Mm-hmm. You get to see everyone who's involved in this miracle gathered around, and we get to kind of lend our faith to that same story, to trust it. And so there's a scripture that says that, people who were there when Jesus was alive are blessed, and we're even more blessed because we don't get to see it and we still have to have faith for it. And so I just feel like every Christmas season I get to go, as a Christian, how special that I get to celebrate the miraculous birth of Jesus, but I also get to remind myself of like the extreme obedience and faith it takes to believe that this is true, you know, and to give my life to it. And so, I think it's one of those things where I think Christians are always like, oh, it's too secularized, like it's not about Santa, it's about Jesus. And I just think, that stuff is all, it's fun, and you can have fun with it, and it's all a reminder of how important this season is, Right. So that's kind of my take on the whole thing.
I kind of take it all together. Like when it comes to that, like I think of it all. Like of course, like, obviously Christmas, it's in the name. Like I obviously think it's our Savior's born. Like it's a big deal. But like Christmas, like it's Christmas, it's trees, it's ornaments, it's everything too. Like it's all one.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it's definitely okay as a Christian to enjoy, the Christmas trees and the presents and stuff like that. Well, heck, the wise men even gave, Jesus whenever
bearing
at the
gifts,
bearing gifts with what was it?
Frankincense, and gold. Yeah,
that's awesome. But actually, we kind of have a couple side notes that we want to hit. Some interesting topics about it.
Yeah.
The genealogy of David, which a lot of people may not know. From the very beginning, when King David was the king of Israel, correct?
Yep.
Basically, he told David that from his line, Jesus will come. Yep. And right before this whole story of his birth, it gave the whole genealogy of from son of this and son of this and son of this. And it's this whole big chapter, and it's really cool how you can see every single person through. There's probably like 40, 50 names on that list.
Of names.
So you think of like generations of, and back then people lived like 80, 90 years old.
Right.
And so it was a pile of years, and it's kind of cool to see the whole timeline of this is what actually happened.
Yeah. We always make the joke of like, that's the part, we always encourage people in our church to do daily devotions and read their Bible. And we always make the joke, that's the part you skim through, like you're kind of like, okay, now we're to the end of the list of names. But it is cool because I just like in Genesis and Leviticus and Numbers, in the Old Testament, where there's all these lists of names and all these lists of, how they built the churches and things like that. It all does have significance. And so for that list of names, that is the significance is going, man, like it matters that David was told from your lineage, Jesus will come, and he did, and so it's a fulfillment. And so that's why when you have all these people going, are you really the guy? It's like, that's why that stuff matters, because it's like, he is, Well,
my thing is like, imagine Joseph's like perspective.
Yeah.
Like, how did he take it? Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, your wife's pregnant, it's not yours, like, how, what does he do? Like,
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, I don't think we don't really get like a full picture of his immediate response. Obviously, he chooses not to divorce her or anything, which is amazing. And he's still around for Jesus' life. But, man, it took him really believing that this was true, really trusting Mary and probably having a pretty intense love for her to go, yeah, like you can stay with me, you can live with me. Kind of honestly like embarrassing. Like you probably lose some points for your reputation when you go, yeah, my wife's pregnant, it's not mine, and I'm going to let her stay with me,
Especially in a Jewish family as well.
Yeah.
In a Jewish family, and especially back then, if that was the case, if that would have happened, it was a normal thing to be able to stone the wife.
Right.
Like he was able to put her to death, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And that was just part of their law back then. And it's crazy to kind of see how Joseph loved her through everything.
Totally.
And just trusted, like, hey, this is what the Lord's telling me to do. I'm going to just put my faith and protect her the whole way.
Our pastor preached on it a couple weeks ago, and he was just talking about even the perspective of like if your friend came to you and was like, hey, my fiance is pregnant. I didn't have sex with her. It's not mine, but I'm staying with her and it's God's. It's like you probably as a friend would go, bro,
come on, man,
cut it off, like end this thing, and so even his friends kind of had to like probably step out in faith and go, like we'll be all in for this, like we'll go with you guys, we'll trust God. So
especially with their families as well. I mean, they literally had to be like, both their families are like, what are y'all doing?
For sure.
And hopefully I don't think there was any record of basically what their family's reaction were. Do you know?
No, not at all.
But I'm sure that's had to been tough for them too. But
for sure.
Like the big question is, where did he go after the birth?
We were just talking about this before the episode. Matt, we were talking about how there was a sign of Joseph and Mary in the it was the synagogue, right?
Yeah. So when Jesus is left at the synagogue by his parents, and then they have to come back and get him and they scold him. That's Mary and Joseph. So he stayed present in Jesus' life. He functioned as his father, and there are a lot of scriptures where Jesus is asked, like, where are your mother and father? Why aren't you with your parents? And he constantly reminds people like, this is my family, God is my father, and so he definitely had a familiar relationship. It sounds like it was a pretty unique one, where maybe he, a little bit younger than most, is rebelling and going, you know what, you guys aren't my parents. He's like running away from home. He's like, this is my home, church is my home. But he was right. So Joseph was still around. It doesn't say what he did like right after the birth and all that, but he was there with Mary when the wise men visited. He was there at the manger when Jesus was born, and so he's present throughout the whole story, which is really cool. I think just shows a lot about who he was.
That's my favorite. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jesus being born is pretty great, but like the three wise men story, dude, that's the coolest part of the whole story. Following the north, like the star, man. Like imagine how hard that would be in the middle of the desert back then. Like there's limited supplies you're going to be able to bring. Limited amount of drinking water.
100%.
And you got to trust a star that may or may not move every other night.
And another thing with the wise men is, another thing with the Bible, it's not clear. A lot of people just assume there's three wise men. Right. It never says there are three. And so they assume because there were three gifts, but it's very cool because they were a part of the Middle East, correct? Or
so they're called Magi, and the kind of the nation that the frankincense and myrrh would have been from is somewhere in the Middle East. That's kind of how they get there is that stuff that doesn't just come from everywhere. So somewhere in the Middle East. But yeah, they traveled a long ways.
I feel like it would be more of like a caravan of men and, like animals. And, it wouldn't be just three guys out there walking. There's no way.
Well, especially because these were very high-end men. They were noble people. And 100%. I don't think they would just be going.
They're bringing gifts of gold and the finest. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are well protected too, probably. There's no way there's just three.
So actually just on Sunday, our senior pastor, Christina, she did a message on the three wise men and their obedience and what it took. And so she kind of broke down the myths of the wise men. And one of those things was, she said, obviously because of the nativity scene and songs that speak about, the three wise men, we kind of assume that it's three, but most scholars believe it's somewhere between 14 and over 100.
Really?
So there's not like a specific number that the Bible gives us, but that's what kind of has been surmised based on things like that. Like they probably traveled, and the distance they traveled from the nation that stuff's from to where they're meeting the baby is she said about the distance between like Lakeland, Florida and Washington, D.C. And so they're traveling through the desert on camels, which is not easy.
Pregnant.
Yeah. So they're, the wise men weren't. I don't think the wise men were pregnant.
Sorry. Went off beat there, boys.
Yeah.
But they had to travel too, though. Like Mary and Joseph.
They would have traveled around for sure. Yeah. But yeah, these wise men traveling that distance. And so, yeah, it's just fascinating, the whole story. And it is funny how you kind of, when we're talking about all these different topics, it's like you do kind of realize the story kind of gets away from you a little bit, in the traditions and the things. Yeah. And it doesn't really, not that it really changes anything, but it does matter. When the wise men got there, Jesus wasn't in a manger anymore. He was probably a year or 2 years old, two years old. Mm-hmm. He was walking around probably, and there's so much more to the story too with the king at the time, King Herod, was inquiring of the wise men, like, when did you see the star? Where's the baby? And he, presents that he's trying to worship Jesus. He's actually trying to take him out. He's actually very intimidated by Jesus and trying to end his life. And so the wise men ended up actually having to travel back a different route from the one they came and avoid that stopping by Herod's place the second time around. And so they're hearing from an angel, they're following this star. It's just so much obedience along the way. Yeah. You're risking your life because King Herod would kill you at a moment's notice if he found out, that you were avoiding him and trying not to let him know where the baby was. Yeah.
Man, he put out a big hit for Jesus too, didn't he? Like he put out I think it was any male child that were under the age of 2.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
They did it too. Like the massacre.
That happened. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane to think about, man.
And he still made it through, which is,
I hate that Hallmark kind of ruins the cool story, man. Like, everybody thinks just 3 wise men. They were there when he was born. Right. Here's their gifts.
Yeah, it's hard to fit in the whole murder part.
Well, but still, I think the authentic cool story is the best.
We haven't even hit on the shepherds either.
Yeah.
We have not even talked about them, which was very cool. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but it says the Lord appeared to the shepherds on the hillside, and it was an angel, right? Angel Lord Gabriel, and he comes down and tells them, hey, the Savior of the universe is coming. Go see him. And it was kind of cool how very few times in the Bible angels make an appearance, and it was announcing and being
2 shepherds too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty special.
Which shepherds were very low income type people, and you've got the shepherds, and then you've got the wise men, the highest of high class.
Yeah.
And it kind of just shows the perspective of Jesus will reach anybody in all walks of life.
Right.
And it's kind of cool how we do this with a podcast where we try to reach anybody
and everybody.
That's cool.
But
we didn't really think of it like that, but now that we do, it's even cooler.
It all connects back to the Christmas story.
But I think this is a perfect time to get into our Snap questions.
Let's do it. I love it.
Man, this is one that we ask all of our guests, and we love it because we get to know what's your interest outside of maybe outside the church.
Awesome.
So if you could go to dinner with 3 people throughout time, who would it be?
Okay, so I hate to be cliche, but one would have to be Jesus.
Yeah. Obviously.
We get that a
lot. Pretty big figure in the faith in my life, and so Jesus is there. Another one would be this is gonna sound super nerdy. I love technology. I love this stuff. So I would love to sit down with Steve Jobs.
Ooh, okay.
Founder of Apple. I just think he's a genius. I think he's his the way he
very stern though.
Yeah,
personality.
Probably scary. But But again, I feel like all things, all people. I could probably win him over.
Yeah. Well, maybe since he's dead now, he's I'm back for a dinner. Might as well gonna have a good time.
Yeah, 100%. Might as well enjoy it, I guess.
It's an interesting take.
Yeah,
it really is. And then I think honestly, the third one, I've gotten super into country music these last few years, and I've never have been before. I would love to hang with Morgan Wallen. I think he released that song, "Don't Think Jesus." Did you guys hear that one?
I've heard it.
And I love it because I feel like I'm getting to watch Morgan Wallen's journey of discovering God. It's he goes off the deep end. I went to see him live. He's crushing beer cans on the stage. He's almost throwing up on people, and then he's releasing this song I don't think Jesus would have acted that way, and I don't think that he's like putting on other people and putting on himself. And so I would just love to sit down with that dude. And if we got Morgan Wallen, Steve Jobs, and Jesus at a table, and I'm loving that conversation.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of questions that are gonna get answered there by one man at that table.
Yeah, we all have questions. Yeah, for sure.
Those are three people in very different walks of life too.
I know, yeah, for sure.
But you'll get to hit all kinds of different, scenarios. I feel like you got the whole music side, and then technology side, and then your faith based.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man.
All right,
that's gotta be so good.
Wish it could happen, but
maybe one day
I'll settle for you guys.
Yeah. We can be the three guys at the table. So Matt, what is your favorite Christmas memory?
Favorite Christmas memory. Okay, so I didn't have like a ton of like game systems growing up. But I always really wanted the Xbox, that kind of thing. And I just my parents never really got it for me, but there was the handheld, the Game Boy. And so when I was a kid, like the Game Boy Advance was like the big thing. And that was like, I used to actually play all the time when I go, my dentist had one and I always wanted one so bad. And so I have a terrible memory. Like I won't remember this tomorrow. I don't remember what I did yesterday. When people ask me what I did this weekend, it's like, it sounds like I was out, partying or something. I just genuinely don't remember. But I remember this Christmas opening up a present and it was a Game Boy Advance. And I just remember I'm like, Mom and Dad, I love you guys forever. It's like just the biggest, I never thought I would get it. As a kid, like money is just like the fact that they could even afford a Game Boy felt like foreign to me. I'm like, how did you get this thing? It had like, the Mario Brothers and the Donkey Kong, and like they bought me 6 games, and I'm like, this is the best Christmas ever.
So at the dentist office, was it like on the little locked up with the little chain on the side of it?
No, it actually wasn't. No? It was just always sitting on the table when I walked in.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I never thought about that. That would have been a good idea.
Like at Walmart, whenever they had the little screens and you had your controllers up there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Dude, I'm glad you said I had a Game Boy, like that actual like square one.
Oh yeah.
Like you flip up.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, but like mine was blue, and my favorite game on that thing was Frogger. Did you ever have Frogger?
Yeah, for sure. Frogger's a great game.
Man. Our next one for you, Matt. So everybody has one. Very few people, keep it. What's your New Year's resolution this year?
Man. So a few years ago, I just decided to give up on New Year's resolutions because I'm like, I've failed too many times. So I adjusted my perspective. Now, instead of having these big resolutions, I thought, you know what, what's one thing I can what's one barrier I can remove from one area of my life that's just like something keeping myself from doing something, So a few years ago, I was like, I want to read more. I've made that resolution a lot and I've failed a lot. But a few years ago, I bought a Kindle, the Amazon thing. Cause I'm like, why do I not read more? And it's honestly just cause I don't always have a book with me, Right. Like sometimes I'm like, I have 10 minutes to read here, but I don't have the book with me. And so now I always have at least something I can read, So I made that decision. And then I was, a couple years ago, I was like, I'm trying to eat better. So I signed up for a meal plan because I'm like, I don't have food in my house. I can't cook very well, and so I'm like, I'm signing up for one of these meal plans. And I started getting meals delivered, just removing barriers. And so I think, honestly, this year I really want to learn how to play guitar. I've always kind of known just a little bit, but about a year ago my guitar broke, and so I'm buying myself a new guitar. I'm gonna just have it around so that I can start to at this point I can watch YouTube and learn guitar so easy. So I'm gonna get myself a guitar and I'm gonna learn guitar this year because I just think it's fun to be able to play.
That's one of my dreams.
Yes,
electric
me too,
guitar.
dude, literally.
Electric guitar is what I would do.
Yeah, man. I always tell my girlfriend all the time, airplaying the guitar or on the passenger seat. I'm like, I want to learn how to play so bad. It'd be so cool just to be able to play the song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every time I see someone just casually playing, I'm like, you have no idea the gift you have.
I'd be entertaining myself for hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Yeah.
I love it. So our last and final question: what is your favorite hobby?
I really love one of my favorite hobbies is just working out. I feel like. When I discovered the gym, my junior year of college, I just was like, this is amazing. If it's a stress relief thing, it's fun. I love that I get to bring people along with me and do it, and whether it's high school students or college students, just, having that time where I'm doing something I know that's helping me and spending time with other people. So working out is big. I love playing tennis. I really love tennis. And I've been trying to get into pickleball. Pickleball has like gotten super popular. So I'm trying to get into that as well, but tennis is huge for me. Golf is one of my favorite things to do. I got a set of clubs during COVID when like the only thing you could do was golf. Like that was the only thing open. And I got super into it. And so me and my dad will golf a lot. And so I love that. And then I just love reading, my Bible, just new books, so that's kind of.
Where do you go golf at?
One of my favorite things to do. In Lakeland, Cleveland Heights is like my go-to. Yeah. Just super affordable, I have a couple buddies who have like memberships like Eaglebrook and Grasslands. So if I'm hanging with them, I'm trying to like aim the conversation toward those places, So
those are higher end golf courses around Polk County.
My golf course, like the way I choose, is based off of my playing level. Yeah. When I get to a certain playing level one day, I'll move past Bartow Golf Course.
Yes. I've played Bartow Golf a number of times. Yeah. I've always wanted to play Stream Song, which is like, a really really nice
my hometown.
Course, really expensive, and I just haven't been able to bring myself to do it because I'm still in the spot where like scoring like in the 90s is like a good score for me. And so I'm like, I just can't bring myself to drop $250 on a round of golf and just be mad the whole time.
Man. Go out there and love it. You'd love it, dude.
Like, I just feel like I'm burning money. Like I just feel like I'm just literally lighting fire to money and going cool. Like
there's people that probably go out there and shoot lead. What worse?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You have to pay a caddy. Like they literally require you to have a caddy with you. It's high level. So
you walk it too, don't you?
You have to walk it. Yeah, you have to bring a caddy.
You have to pay like PGA rules.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it's legit golf. So yeah, but I feel the same way. I'm like, one day I will be at that level. I'm just not quite there yet.
All right, I have one final question.
All right.
Okay, so you were talking about reading. What is the best way to get in a habit of reading? Because I've always wanted to read a bunch of books and like gain knowledge that way, but I could never sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to read this book.
No, it's challenging. I've just kind of decided on this thing that I call it devotional reading, So in the same way I do my devotions every day, I just set aside like 30, 40 minutes. And partially sometimes it's like, honestly, I get my reading done, my devotional reading with my Bible, because I just set up times to hang with people, and it's harder for me to cancel on other people than it is to cancel on myself. Right. If you have something scheduled, it's harder to text someone than it is to just turn on the TV and do something else instead. But when I don't have something set, I think just having that time set aside during my day, literally like I'll block out a time on my calendar and go, this hour is like for reading my Bible. And I do my reading for the day. Like I think when you think about reading a book, it feels so daunting, because it's like you got this book and you're like, I don't even know where to start, But if you just go, man, 10 days or 10 pages a day, I'm just gonna do 10 pages a day. That's a lot less daunting, And so it doesn't have to be a full chapter. It doesn't have to be you get through half the book. I think if you can just do 10 pages and just pick a time during your day and just set that time aside, add it to your calendar, tell people you're not available during that time, That's how I would do it.
Your question inspired my one last question.
Let's go.
What I know you read scripture a lot.
Yeah.
What's like your book you read out? Like what kind of genre? I guess you like fiction. Like do you go outside? Like you know what I'm saying? Like
So I really like to read like leadership books. So like I just bought. I know I just talked about how much I love technology. I just bought a book called Build. It's by the creator of the iPod, and so he wrote about kind of like how to build products and companies and things like that. So I love like finding books like that from experts in a field, and it doesn't have to be like religious leadership. I love reading like pastoral leadership books and stuff, but I feel like sometimes I glean more wisdom just from going, I just want to learn from like the best people in individual areas and apply that to what God's called me to, So I love just finding experts in their field and then reading books about, what they do. And so I love reading books by actors, and just things like that, where it's like, I'm never going to live that life, but I can learn a lot from kind of their perspective. So,
Forrest on, we had him on a couple of episodes ago. He was a GA at University of Tennessee. Oh, nice. He works with linebackers and everything, but he said one of his people, for his table question was Dwight Eisenhower. And so you were talking about leadership and everything. Yeah. And it was super cool to see his perspective. And he was like, if he could lead people into war on D-Day and this and that, then he could lead anybody, which was kind of a cool perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
Well, man, awesome Christmas special.
It's been so fun hanging with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
We hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Hopefully you can get some ham and some rolls and everything put in you.
Hope everybody enjoys your presents out there, and I hope everybody enjoyed giving. I know I'm going to enjoy giving. I hope everybody enjoys my gifts I give out this year.
Well, I like that.
And one thing we do on every episode is we follow back our guests on Instagram.
Yes, we do.
So if you want to go check out Matt, and if you want to reach out, maybe ask for a prayer request or get in touch with him, we're going to follow back on Instagram, and that is Rule1 Podcast. We are on YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anything you can think of. It's in the description box. So y'all go check them out.
Yes, sir. All right, guys.
Until next week.
It's time to go celebrate Christmas.
Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas.
We'll see y'all later.